Hey guys, how are you? So, I wanted to ask if you all remember your first kiss. Okay, I bring that up because I think it was interesting. It was something I was talking about with a friend, with a guy. And, like, because when you get older, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't really be thinking about this stuff very much. Because life kind of gets in the way. And life kind of takes over and we forget certain things. So this dude that I was went out with or whatever, he asked me the most peculiar question. Like, honestly, I've never been asked this on a question, or on a date or anything, but I thought it was kind of funny because he said he was like, if I could answer this question, then he knew I was a real chick. Okay, and the question was, did I know what a flux capacitor was? I was like, the answer is yes. And is that like aging myself? Like, I don't know. I didn't know if I should really answer that or not, because I was kind of like, yeah, I do know what that is. I would love to have one. Turn back the hands of time. No. But anyway, and we were kind of chatting about that and just like different memories from back. And one of them was talking about your first kiss. Do you remember your first kiss? Well, do you remember your first kiss? Like, do you remember, was it memorable? Was it good? Was it bad? And okay, so what I think is so funny about my first actual kiss, because believe it or not, I was definitely like a good girl. I actually didn't like have a real first kiss until high school. And in order for that first kiss to actually take place, this guy that liked me, he was talking to me, he was trying to be with me or whatever. I didn't understand that he was trying to have this moment. And I guess he had been doing that for a minute. Anyway, he had to actually put his hand over my mouth. Sorry, guys. Something was going on with my phone. Okay, this is weird. I've never seen. Okay, I don't know. Guess I'm gonna have to go to the store. Anyway, yeah, this so he had to actually put his hand over my mouth to get me to stop talking long enough. Okay, literally, he had to go like that to give me a kiss, because I was such a talker. And I think that's kind of so funny, because like, it goes to show how your personality stays the same. Like, even as you get older or whatever, like your personality like kind of like stays the same, right? And so anyway, I'm putting my lotion on. By the way, everybody else keep real drinks in the car. And no, I use these little bottles for oil, because I think that they're like the perfect size, to be able to, lotion up or whatever. So anyway, it's just a little beauty tip. I even keep them in my makeup. I keep them in my makeup kit too. Anyway, so I was talking about my first kiss. So yeah, this guy had to like cover my mouth just to give me a kiss, to get me to stop talking long enough. And he told me afterward, he was like, man, I like you a lot, but you talk so much. And honestly, like, I knew from that point on that anybody that I ever got with, he had to be somebody who liked my talking, because I'm a talker, right? So like, that was like a big thing. And so this other guy that I was talking about, like, it was a big thing. I guess he's like a movie buff or whatever, and he was just like, it was a big thing for anybody that he was with to be into movies or whatever, and to like kind of know what the flux capacitor was. But like, it just kind of showed, I guess, if you're a movie person or whatever. He said, like, I guess no women, most women or whatever, nobody was able to answer that question, or maybe one other or something, I don't know. But like, it was a big deal to him. And so anyway, I just think that's kind of funny, because when you think about stuff like that, like, because for me, you have to understand, with me being married for so long and then remarried shortly after, I really never dated. I really didn't date at all. Okay. So, you know, this is all kind of like new to me. Okay. This is like all kind of like interesting to me, like as part of just human psychology and just getting to know people, whatever. It's like funny what people think about, right? I think about first kisses and how they might have impacted your relationships or your outlook on relationships, your outlook on future relationships, you know. Most people can remember their first kiss. Most people can. Anyway, that particular guy, because I'm from Florida, what was kind of funny was we were in high school together, and then, you know, of course we went separate ways, whatever, and I ended up, you know, graduating, whatever. Anyway, we didn't see each other for a long time until I saw him again after I was married in college, though, because I went ahead and went back to school to get my license. Or no, I went back to Kaiser. This is when I went to Kaiser College to get my associate's degree in computer networking. Anyway, and I saw him there, and we were not taking the same course, but we ended up seeing each other in college, or, you know, at that college. And it was just interesting because I was already married, so whatever. But I did actually see him again at that point. But I don't know if he even knows that he was actually my first kiss, because, you know, by that age in high school, I was like I think I was almost out of 10th grade, to be honest. There wasn't anybody who I knew who hadn't even kissed anybody yet. Like, everybody had well past that, and I was over here still playing around, like, you know. Well, I was a good girl, and I was not, you know, I was raised very strict and everything. And I mean, I had one guy try to come to my house and talk to me in middle school. I didn't really like him, but anyway, he liked me or something, I don't know. But anyway, I didn't even know, I wasn't even home. And I found out later on, the next day, that when he came to see me, my dad said, hold on a minute, and told him to wait. So this poor boy thought I was going to come outside to talk to him. But then my dad came back to the door with a bat and told him never to come back again. And so this is in middle school. So, like, yeah, I didn't have the audacity to challenge my parents too greatly. I did challenge them some, but not like that. So I found out about that like the next day. Okay, so that poor guy was scared, to say the least. But anyway, I say all that because, you know, first kisses in general are usually very memorable, but they can also be very memorable with certain people too. Like, when you think about different kisses that maybe impacted your life, like, I remember also, I was young. I was young. I think I was maybe 13 or 14. Maybe 13 or 12. I don't know. But I had went to a family funeral. And so I didn't, this side of the family, I didn't know a lot of I didn't know these family members very, very well. Okay? And but there I was at this family funeral. So I didn't know who everybody was. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm getting ready to go out. Anyway, I didn't know who everybody was. And but there was a boy there at the funeral, or at the repast, right? And everybody was, you know how it is at black funerals, black repasts, you know, like, it's more like a celebration, you know, people be dancing and having a good time, you know, stuff like that, depending on, I guess, the situation. But, you know, most black folk, you know, like to get down and stuff, right? So everybody was having a good time or whatever, and there was a boy there who was like, you know, eyeing me or whatever, and I was talking, so we started chatting, and he snuck a kiss. Literally, he snuck a kiss. Like, he went, it was a closed mouth. It wasn't open mouth. It was a closed mouth. But nonetheless, he still snuck a kiss. Now, I think I was 12 or 13. I don't know. I was young. Anyway, I'll never forget him because I thought he was really cute, and we were talking and everything and having a good time. And then he stole a kiss and then ran off. Okay. And then we started talking again, like chatting, like talking, And I remember my grandmother, who passed on my black side, she came and she said, "Hey, I see you met your cousin so-and-so." As we were talking. And yeah, so apparently this was my cousin from some side of the family. I don't even know, I don't even remember to this day. Like, I don't even know. But apparently we were cousins somehow. Anyway, his face was red and my face was red. And we were like, "Oh, yeah, Grandma, thank you for letting us know." You know, like, "Yeah, Grandma, we met." Anyway, that was kind of weird. And so anyway, obviously he didn't try to kiss me after that anymore, whatever, but that was kind of interesting. So I never forgot that little tap, if you want to call that a kiss. It was, you know, like I said, a little closed mouth. It was a tap. He stole it, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, that was kind of interesting. And the last, I think, kiss that I really, really, really remember being like totally memorable was this guy that I dated for a little while. He knew I was up at the store, and we were talking on the phone the whole time, just chatting. And when I noticed he did ask me where I was at, but I didn't. It was a while back in the conversation, and I knew that he was like over an hour away from what he told me. Anyway, we were still talking, chatting, and I told him he knew where I was at, so we were on the phone, and I don't know, because it took so long, I guess an hour had gone by or something. Anyway, he had came to the store where I was still at, found me in the freezer section, and while we were still on the phone talking, like I was, you know, on the phone talking, and I was doing the shopping, and he came up behind me and surprised me, because like I said, I was actually in the freezer section. I was inside of getting something out of the freezer, and he turned me around. I mean, shocked me, because I kind of was like, and then just planted a big kiss on me. We were still on the phone, but I didn't know he was walking into the store. I didn't know that he was doing all that. And so, yeah, I mean, like, everybody was there, people were there, whatever. Anyway, but I just remember being a long kiss, and I remember, it was like, for that moment, it's like time stops, I guess you could say. Like, for that moment, time just kind of stops, and you don't notice anybody else around you. It's like just the two of you. And it surprised me, is why it was so memorable. It was just very surprising, and it was very sweet, and I didn't know he was going to do that. And I thought it was very adorable, and so it made it a very memorable type of kiss, you know, because of that, you know. It was very sweet. I think little things like that actually bring a lot of romance into relationships. Little things like that. It don't take a lot. I don't think it takes money to be romantic. I don't think it takes I don't think it takes fancy stuff, fancy cars, or fancy this, that, and the other. Me personally, no, I think it takes more or less actually liking the person that you're with, you know, or that person maybe brings out that romantic side in you. But I think it takes, you know, just that desire of doing little things like that to be romantic. Because even I remember, like, with the first kiss, the reason why I obviously it was my first kiss, so I remember it, but it was kind of romantic because he had to do like this to get me to shut up long enough to get a kiss. And but it was kind of cute and kind of romantic, you know. You know, it's just like little things, I think, like that don't take a lot of money. I remember being surprised one day at work when I worked at the mat counter. My late husband had brought me some flowers, but I didn't know he was coming, and I also didn't see him. Okay, and so this is for no reason. He bought me flowers for no reason. There was no occasion or whatever. But what he did was he told the lady at the makeup counter or the perfume counter across the way, it was a worker. He had her, I guess he asked her, I don't know, I guess he put on this whole show. He said to her, "Hey, do you know who that lady is over there?" And she was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you know if she's single?" And she's like, "I think she's married." And he was like, "Oh man." He's like, "Well, can you let her know that I think she's beautiful? I got these flowers for her. I want to you know, give her these flowers, but I'm kind of nervous. Can you go over there and tell her? I don't know what he said, but it was something to that effect or whatever. So this lady comes over to me while I'm at the mat counter, and she was like, she was a white lady. She was Caucasian. She was like, excuse me, miss, there's this man who's highly interested in you, and he wants to give you flowers. That's him over there. And so, I'm listening to her, and I look over there, and I see it's my husband. It's Travis. And I said, that's my husband. And she said, and then he started laughing, and he started walking over, and then she went like this. She hit him. Oh my goodness, you got me really good. She said, you got me. And he was laughing, you know, and he gave me these flowers, you know. Anyway, but I remember, the flowers were like, I don't know, maybe from Publix or something. I don't know. They were not expensive, but it was the point that it was memorable, right? Because of him taking advantage of the moment and kind of being creative or whatever. And I've had different things like that, you know. I remember I had a kiss over at the water. This other person that I was talking to, and we were practicing meditation, deep breathing. And it was actually our first date. I guess it was like our second date. It was like technically like second date, because I know we went out to eat, but then it was like my choice. Anyway, so I was like, okay, I'm doing my meditation over here, so if you want to, you know, come over here. And he did, and we were doing deep breathing meditation for real, because I really do that. Anyway, and then we had our first kiss. And that was very memorable time as far as kisses go, because we were by the water, and because it was kind of romantic, and it was kind of unplanned. It was actually very unplanned. We were just, you know, yeah, because I think I had my eyes closed because I was doing my deep breathing meditation. Anyway, that was a memorable time because it was at the water. And anyway, so one thing I like to share with people is that I read in a book a long time ago, it was a book about loss, basically, about grieving, the grieving process, and how, let's say if you were married for like, you know, a million years or whatever, it is hard to get over the loss of a loved one. It is. It's very, very hard, okay? It's not easy. But especially when, let's say, the person that you're with was your first at everything. First time if you were with this person the first time you bought a car, first time you bought a house, or your first kid, or your first. It's very hard, especially if you lose that person to death. It's very hard because there is a special type of high that you get, dopamine rush high, with your first, in your first experiences, in your first time doing XYZ. So sometimes when you have a relationship with the next person, your second brain is like, I already bought a car once before, or been there, done that, I bought a house or whatever. You know, sometimes it's kind of hard to reach those. They were saying that, like, it doesn't feel the same as your first, right? And they were saying the reason why is because it is a special high, a dopamine rush that you get doing something the first time with somebody. So when you do that same activity again, maybe with the second person, it won't feel the same. It doesn't feel the same. And it is a real thing. So they were saying that when you do get into a new relationship or whatever, one of the best things to do is to try to create opportunities where you can have a first, okay? Where you can, experience something for the first time with that person. Make it a point to do that so that you both have that experience of the newness of that, and it creates a memory. So every time you have a first with anybody or anytime, it creates a special impression in your brain because it's a first. And because of that dopamine rush, right? So hopefully your first experience, let's say whatever that is, kiss, making love, whatever, is a good experience and not bad, because if it was bad, it could also be detrimental to you in that way too. So I was reading that in this book, and it was about grief and loss. I don't remember the name of the book now because I had so many books I was reading at that time. That was when I first moved here to Atlanta. Anyway, I never forgot that though, because that was one of the key things to experience, or to make sure that you allow yourself to experience if you are re-entering the dating scene. You know, if you were like me, widowed, or just whatever, divorced, whatever, you know, that you want to have opportunity to experience firsts again with people. So, okay guys, that's it. I'm gonna talk to you later. Bye.